So I just quickly wanted to go over some big misconceptions I feel like about the state of Mr. Pandaria remix. But first of all, I'm just gonna go ahead and tag this boss over here. Uh, I think a lot of people are angry, get it, about the state of Mr. Pandaria and how. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing is that the cloak being capped when you made a new character. Uh, this I was actually in the same department of like, wow, this is sucks, this is terrible, why would they do this? Absolutely stupid as heck. Did I get them out? Did I get them out? Did I get them? No, no amount. Oh, they're stupid, blah blah blah. But this this was not as bad as I thought it was at all. When you make a new character, you will be capped at 100% increased XP gains. Now, I will say, like, not having any of the stats or anything like that, that's a bit weird. It would have been maybe nicer to have it scaled back up, but I think that might also be an issue because it would just always make your new character way more OP than your previous character. Because these are permanent stats. So if you make a new character, that new character, when it's reached level 70, it will have even more stats than your current character. I'm not sure how you would fix that, but it's it's whatever. Yeah, the XP thing. When I realized when and I think people are starting to realize it. If you just do the normal raid, which is what it's designed to do, that's why the raids start at level 25, and then there's like I think 35, and then there's like 40. They give you humongous amounts of XP gains, and I think that's the point, right? You're supposed to do the raid while leveling, and it fits quite well because from level 10, where you start, to level 25, you are destroying everything. Like, if you're having issues with those levels, something is very wrong, and usually I would say it's definitely the thing that's definitely wrong is that you're not upgrading your gear. And I don't mean like you don't have to spend the thousands and thousands of bronze to upgrade your gear. I spent about 5,000 bronze constantly upgrading my gear to max every time I could. So when you get the correct gear, like not the ones that have the avoidance and leech and nothing else, like when you get like mastery, crit, haste, and all that stuff, versatility, keep it. And when you get a new piece of gear that has like better stats on it, like for example, like I got this rare legs, instead of having just mastery on it, it has haste, verse, and mastery on it. But it was much lower than the legs that I already have, which were just like pure mastery or something like that. But I kept them and I upgraded them, and now I have like 3 times more stats on this thing than the green legs I used to have. So I feel like it's really a lot of just like misconception or like not understanding the mode all that well. That's kind of causing a lot of the issues. The cloak cap. I mean, I just did 2 sets of normal rates. One before I went to bed, then I woke up and I did another one, and I was at like 240 XP gain or something like that, and I blasted through the levels. I was so fast going through the levels, I wasn't getting good enough gear. I was falling behind, and I was getting one shot. And then I just went to any infinite bazaar. I upgraded my gear, and I was back to normal. I was immediately destroying everything, pulling everything, no problems. Maybe having to pop a defensive here, but I mean, I have a pet. I use misdirect, but then just put more leech on your gear. Like, and the second thing is, people were talking about like being like we're casuals. We just want to casually level. This mode was not designed for casuals. They I think they did a bit of a bad job advertising it, but they made it not for casuals. It was This mode was designed for hardcore, the type of people who actually enjoyed, and I know we are out there, the people who enjoyed the BFA, power grinding, the farms, and the constantly being able to upgrade your character, always something to do, and stuff like that. I think I know this was designed for that. However, casual player base can definitely, get their transmog, get their gear, all that good stuff, and be good to go. Like, there's definitely a lot to be getting out of this. Even if you're casual, I mean, the normal raids are just like you just sign up for them and go. There's no raider IO. There's no, you know, stuff like that. That's like blocking people because look at those guys blocking people from doing anything or something like that. Like you just go. You just sign up and people invite you. But I mean, if you're a DPS, you do have to get used to it being a bit more harder to get into groups. Uh, your how powerful you are, how OP you are, that's a scale. If you were to just get to level 70 and you just start one-shotting every mythic boss in Siege of Orgrimmar, then you're done in like it's been 3 days, it's been 4 days. Like you want to be one-shotting Siege of Orgrimmar? I think people misunderstood this. Like you're going to get overpowered. I already feel quite overpowered, but I also feel that content is challenging, and I really like that. These two things don't have to be opposites. You can't have challenging content and be overpowered. I feel like you can, because everything I do is upgrading my character. I am gonna do the normal raids. I'm gonna do the normal dungeons or heroic dungeons, get my gear, and everything's gonna scale. I can keep getting better and better gems, these legendary gems, and stuff like that. Upgrading my gear. Like I still have some greens left and stuff like that. The cloak has infinite potential, Like there's so much stuff I can do to upgrade my character, and I don't want it to stop. That's kind of the point. I don't really like just being completely done with the character. I'm okay with with deciding to be done with your character. Like on retail, there's a lot you can do, but it's very capped. Like it's like it takes a very much shorter amount of time than previously to absolutely maximize your character. And I do mean everything, except maybe having like avoidance on every single piece of gear, myth track, blah blah blah. But I like this idea of just like being able to maximize your character endlessly, and that's kind of the point. Like that's what's enjoyable about this. It's so accessible to the less like not the top 10 mythic raiders in the world or mythic guilds in the world. This is completely accessible to anyone. Anyone should be able to get into mythic Siege of Orgrimmar. You just have to farm for it. And people are very angry at that because I mean Dragonflight was the opposite of farming, which is kind of why they made this, because they wanted people to have something to do to farm. This is not really supposed to compete with season 4, although I feel like they completely flopped on season 4. But I don't think the idea was to have it compete with season 4. I think the idea was to give the hardcore people something to do here and give the to give people options, not force them to play both. So, and upgrading it, yeah, I went over. I'm checking my notes. I'm going over like if you're having issues leveling and you're getting one shot, which I'm seeing a lot of people are complaining about. Like, I'm just getting one shot. I just go into a heroic dungeon and I just get one shot. Well, two things is you have to upgrade your gear. Have to upgrade your gear, and it should not be an issue because once you like get gear from the chests, if it's higher item level, you can just upgrade your current gear at 95% cheaper bronze. Are you really? You have to be here? Really? Alright. Some people, man. Some people. You can just immediately upgrade your gear for like super cheap, for like 50 bronze or something like that. No issues. I had no issues leveling. Anyways, yeah, okay. So that done. Because that's how the scaling is in the game. The scaling, once you get a new level, it actually gets harder because the higher level you are, the more stats you need on each piece of gear for it to basically get back to baseline or more, right? I'm like let's say I'm level 68. I have 50, 30% crit. I get to level 69 and I drop to like 15% crit. I drop to like 10% haste. I drop to like 8% verse, blah blah blah, and the agility I used to have is doing like 20, 30, 40% less of the amount of agility it used to do. It's taking like half the time or double the time or 50 or whatever the amount of time to kill each mob, and they're doing like double damage to me. But when I upgrade my gear, I get like hundreds and hundreds of crits, and it puts me back to 30% or 32 or 4%, something like that. And I get my agility back, and then, oh, it's taking the same amount of time to kill mobs. I mean, that's just the game design. It's kind of boring to think about it because it's just like, oh, what's the point, blah blah blah. But that's how it works. That's why you're that's why you're getting one shot. Another thing is, I'm pretty sure about this. I need to test this, but I think the mechanic of mitigation for tanks exists in this expansion. What that is an old mechanic of mobs or especially bosses with like boss abilities on the tank, like tank hitting abilities, will do huge amounts of damage. But if you have your mitigation up, it normalizes the damage or something, and then the mitigation can also kick in. So it was a way to make it so like, okay, tanks, you're supposed to have your mitigation for this ability or something like that. It's some like, you know, some giant like, a massive strike. The ability called massive strike does like 1 million damage, and you have like 100k health. And like, how am I supposed to survive that? But if it checks before it hits, like, does this tank have its mitigation up? Yes. Okay. It has demon spike. It has iron fur. It has shield block. Okay. Is now the damage is now 100k, and then also your damage reductions kick in, so it actually ends up being like 30k or something like that, or you just completely block it or parry it. But if you don't have the mitigation up, it's 1 million damage, and then it checks your defensives and stuff like that. I mean, if you parry it, you parry it. Good job. But if you don't and you take it and you only have like on average 60% damage reduction, like why did I get hit by like 600k? Why did I suddenly get one shot? It's because of this. Yeah, if you're a tank and you're noticing, why am I just getting one shot? I've maybe focus more on keeping your basic mitigation ability up, so that this doesn't happen. I think this is happening. I'm not sure. I need to test it because I was doing the raid with another tank, and the other tank was getting hit for like, on the Mokusan Vault. It was the other tank was getting hit for like 60-70% of their health per auto attack or something like that. Meanwhile, I was at 100% health the entire time. I think it was a combination of this, the mitigation stuff. It was the Will of the Emperor, so there were two bosses. I was completely fine on one side. He was getting completely one shot on the other side. But when I checked the logs, the other tank was not permanently keeping their mitigation up. And so I wonder if that's the reason why they were getting one shot. Or maybe it was because they needed to upgrade their gear. But yeah, I mean, emphasize again, if you're getting one shot, upgrade your gear. That's it. The frog nerf. The frog nerf, I mean, this is very strange. I have a very unpopular opinion on it, and that is it should not have changed. In fact, there should have been more ways to do this. People are apparently unbelievably against farming. This has been a staple of this game since its inception. I don't. I feel like the casual crowd is mingling with the not the hardcore crowd, but the farming crowd. There's a lot of people who farm all day, every day. They love farming. It's their favorite thing. Oh, it's so mind numbing and blah blah blah. Yeah, they like it. Some people like it, and I agree with. I mean, I don't like it. I'm not too interested in the farming stuff. I just don't think they should have or needed to nerf it. I really don't think they needed to nerf it at all. I feel like they should have just made everything else also drop bronze and do stuff, and other ways to farm, and make dungeons and raids drop bronze at equal or I mean, yeah, it was a little bit too crazy. Nerf it a little bit, but don't completely destroy the farm, because it was the only thing you could do. Like, buff everything else. Buff everything else is my like motto for everything, including the tanks, man. Oh, good lord, on season 4. Just buff everything else. Why can't just raids and dungeons drop much more bronze? Why did they increase the bronze increase by 25%? That's nothing. Even overall, it's absolutely nothing. Like, like, I don't understand. But again, what, I've gotten like, I think like 30,000 bronze on this character. I've used it. I tried some gem. I tried to buy a couple of gems. It was not worth it. I do not really recommend buying the gems. But I mean, if I want the stuff I want, I may be spending like 100,000 bronze or so. I mean, I'm kind of done almost. Like, in a couple of days, I'm essentially done. I buy the hunter transmog, or if I want to play a warrior, I'm gonna buy the warrior transmog. Then I'm gonna buy a couple of mounts I find cool, because you really don't have to buy all the mounts. Some of the mounts are just old and boring and not interesting. I mean, I want a crane mount. I want the astral mount. A couple of serpent mounts. I already actually got some of them, like Hulon and stuff like that. I want the Shao Fear mount, definitely. And then I'm kind of done, right? I don't know why people are. I know why people are going crazy over this mode, but I don't agree with them. I think they're massively, massively overreacting. I, and I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just I'm paying more attention to it now, but I feel like people are massively overreacting. Like, they're extremely angry at this mode, and I don't understand why. Oh, reset. I think the only guy that was there died. I think people are like extremely angry, like way overboard angry about this mode. I think people have completely missed the point of the mode. Is it because Blizzard forgot to advertise it correctly or something like that? I don't think so. I think people are just like, I think there's some fear of missing out thing going on here. I think people are going absolutely crazy about, like, I have to, and people are saying like, you have to farm like 2 million bronze to get all the stuff. Like, you need everything? You really need everything in the game? What are you doing? Like, what? And the crazy thing is, most of this stuff already exists in retail. They just have never farmed it because, oh, I can farm it later. And now they have like this mode that can easily get it for them. All they have to do is just play it, and they're absolutely going crazy. Like, how dare you? How dare you make me do this? Like, no one is making you do this. It's the same with Plunderstorm. No one is making you do this. Just don't do it. But the rewards, they're transmog. There's no gameplay benefit. Just the only thing I would say take away from this is, once you realize that from level 10 to, holy moly, he's like dying extremely fast. Wow, I think I'm dead as well. Oh, I apparently have some. I just wanted to see if I could tag him again. I think if the absolute highest main point I could ever take from this is level your characters. Like, use this as a way to level your characters, get some characters up and going, big boys and all that good stuff. Once you realize the 100% XP gain doesn't really matter from level 10 to 25. Level 10 to 25 is extremely fast either way. You're super OP, upgrade your gear. Once you get to 25, go into the raid, do the normal, get huge amounts of XP. You're good to go. Like, you're just gonna be blasting all of your characters to max. Yeah, have fun with that. And you're gonna be getting quite a decent amount of bronze actually from that. So each character could probably, net you a couple of mounts or a couple of transmo sets. So yeah, okay, I'm done yapping. Yapped way too much about this. Have a good day. See ya.